Welcome to the In Early podcast, where I speak to those at the forefront of the digital assets and technology sectors, telling real-life stories, considering the growth and growing pains of the industry, and exploring how blockchain and other technology has made an impact on people's lives. My name is Matt Green, and I head up blockchain, digital assets, and technology disputes at law firm Lawrence Stevens. This week I speak to Oliver Tonkin, co-founder and CEO of BCB Group. We consider payments, proposed UK legislation to stablecoins, and why there's likely to have been some overreach. I hope you enjoy. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Firstly, congratulations. BCB Group won Best Provider of Crypto Innovation at the Global Crypto Awards. Tell me a little bit about that.
So yeah, it was a lovely award. It was a real surprise to be nominated to actually win. But I guess it's testament to the great work we've done over the last few years, particularly in the last 12 months in broadening our product suite and getting real contraction and buying in the market.
And obviously the judges made a right call.
They absolutely do. They absolutely did.
It's worth starting by considering what BCB does. I understand the tagline is pay, store, trade, and earn fiat stablecoins and digital assets globally, end quote. Can you tell me in a nutshell what BCB Group does, what it is, what kind of customers you have?
Yeah. So BCB Group is designed to be agnostic between both fiat currency, so that's pounds, dollars, euros, whatever, and digital assets. So whether that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or stablecoins. So people can use our platform to transact in fiat currency, which they do a lot, or crypto. Yeah. So if you want to pay someone in fiat, you can do that through our platform. If you want to be paid, of our platform, same as stablecoin, same with crypto. If you want to hold funds, we can do that to a fiat. If you want to trade, say if you want to convert from pounds into dollars or pounds into FIC or pounds into USDC, you can do that as well on our platform. And if you want to earn, which is the last piece of the puzzle, whether it's on your balances in fiat currency or increasing in your balances in crypto, you do that too. So we provide a full suite of services, crypto, fiat, agnostic to do those small things.
And when you say earn, is that staking?
It's staking or holding other cryptos or other stablecoins that are also yielding as well, yeah.
Well, let's take payments first, right? I mean, what does SWIFT and CHAPS, the sort of TradFi type of services, what role do they play for your customers?
Okay, so SWIFT, CHAPS, faster payments, SEPA, SICK Switzerland, but there are various payment systems for fiat that exist. Some are older. Swift's a bit older. CHAPS is a bit older. Some are newer. So faster payments is great, as people already know, is the pound sterling instant payment network, which just exists within the UK. SEPA instant in the Eurozone. So, I mean, our customers use all of those things through our platform for different use cases. So, for example, if you're paying or being paid within the UK, you can use fast payments now up to £1 million. I think more than that, it's also CHAPS. SWIFT is a cross-border means of value transfer. So there's a SWIFT network which thousands of banks across the world are plugged into. So if you want to send your pounds or your euros or your dollars cross-border with another, you will typically use SWIFT to do that. So we offer that functionality on 20 plus currencies. People use it all the time. I would say that clearly the lion's share of the volume we do are on the instant side. So that will be faster payments, that would be SEPA, that would be Federal in the US. So what would one now?
What did you see here? Because obviously there are systems that allow you to transact on fiat. I guess your vision for your business was to be that agnostic or introduce that agnostic element so that you could do both, right? It was all crypto and fiat.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, our genesis as a business was on crypto side. So we were OTC originally, and then we added payments on initially for our own use case because we wanted to have that certainty around being able to settle transactions, and then we broadened that offering to the kind of wider market. And now we use these and these sort of fiat currency networks, whether it's SEPA or SWIFT or FPS, to help customers transact with tens of billions of pounds equivalently per month worldwide. So it's truly our platform is a global platform. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world and what currency that you want to use. You can use our platform to do that, and obviously we handle the the money transfer in the bank, whether it's through SWIFT or a banking network or FES or TEPA. Yeah.
So who are your customers? Is it normally individuals or is it normally businesses?
So we are exclusive B2B business, so we don't have a need for customers ourselves. All our customers are corporates, institutions. I mean, our historical, I guess, customer base is with big crypto native firms, so exchanges, crypto exchanges, some of the biggest ones, globally in the world. And then on the institutional side, you've got OTC desks, liquidity providers that are doing those very, very high value transactions, crypto transactions. They all plug into our network. I would say the customer base is changing a little bit over time, and we'll come on to kind of why that is. But certainly the stable coin use case, which is a very real kind of zeitgeist thing at the moment, you're seeing the evolution of that market towards, I would say, non-crypto native firms, but crypto adjacent firms, and whether it's PSPs, whether it's other businesses that want to use that functionality, that they're using our network, our platform to make it happen.
So why would a crypto exchange want to or need to use your service? Because theoretically, they should be receiving crypto on the relevant blockchain. They may pool it all individually. I guess your services when they want to offer up it.
Correct. So I mean, we allow exchanges, if they think an exchange, they will have a load of customers out there, globally or whatever, and they want to receive money. If a customer wants to buy crypto on their exchange, they need a way to get to just pay that exchange. Yeah, and so we provide that our off ramp through, again, the payment networks that we talked about. But we also do, and this is why we're a sort of a slightly different business to some of the conventional sort of the nerd generic PSPs that are out there that will do that. Was that we have a network called Blick, which is our own closed loop in-house proprietary network. So it allows on the institutions like customer A to the customer B of our customers instantly, real time, 24/7/365, not using any of these incumbent banking networks.
So they can trade within your system.
Correct.
Much quicker and easier.
Much quicker, yes. Much quicker.
That incentivizes people to.
It makes it very sticky. Yeah. So I mean, again, some of the very large crypto players that are out there, institutions, will trade with each other effectively on our network, and they don't need a bank.
Is that a bit like LIBOR?
LIBOR is the interest rate.
Sorry, you're not sure much about the interbank trading. What's it called? Where the banks are able to.
Yes. I mean, it's a similar thing, but it's our own network.
Yeah.
So we handle the money movements behind the scenes, but you have a booty cap with us, will be with us.
Yeah.
You guys have been with us, and you can transact. It then across currency as well. So if you hold dollars, you could pay someone in pounds or euros or Singapore or whatever. Flip it in straight away and pay it over. So it is a very powerful network. It's very sticky, and it's really driven a lot of the success that we've had as a business.
When I was looking at the website, one of the things it said is you provided liquidity services. And before we recorded, you said that may be something that maybe need updating. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I mean it's real on the FX side. So I mean, again, people for treasury management primarily, people don't always have the perfect match of currencies, that kind of matches their day-to-day needs. So maybe they're probably more dollars, and they put a brag in it, and they've got a euro position that they want to fill, or something else. So they need that instant liquidity, flick from dollars to pounds to euros, whatever. We're able to do that on our platform.
So you've got a reserve?
Well, so it's again. It utilizes Blink, so again we can produce that transfer form instantly, real time, at super competitive rates, and it means that they don't have to constantly worry about, oh shit, have I got enough dollars today? Which again, it's very powerful. I mean, it makes life easy.
Yeah, you don't have to have some sort of liquidity pool or reserve to dive into. Yeah. So you mentioned stablecoins before. I assume you're seeing a massive update in stablecoins in their use, right?
Yeah, I mean it's been really the theme. There's been a lot of noise about it, obviously, in the market. Everyone's got very excited about it, and I think that's something spare actually. I mean, if you look at how that market has evolved, I mean, stablecoins have been around for a while. I'd say that the use case historically has been, I wouldn't say it's been mainstream. It's been people. Let's say it's maybe been used for reasons that are not entirely
money laundering.
I wouldn't say money laundering, but just stuff like iGaming and gaming and gambling and
I would say money laundering.
kind of Chinese, currency control evasion maybe, but certainly use cases have been quite niche.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily been a market that the more reputable businesses out there have been attracted by.
So why are they interested in it more now?
I think a couple of reasons. One is people are more comfortable with the technology now than they necessarily were before. I think some of the players have very much embraced regulation. Not all of them. I mean, some of them have. The Circles of this world, the Ripples of this world are obviously going all in on game licenses, maybe it's in the US or in the UK or in the European Union, which of course brings you into it helps transparency, because again, people are always never quite sure historically if you had a unit of stablecoin, was it really backed by dollars? Was it really backed by
these algorithmic ones? Isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Even ones that kind of aren't algorithmic. I mean, there was never really true transparency as the whether they were really backed or not. So you were taking crypto risk, you inherent crypto risk in the market, but also as well as and currency risk and I guess issuer risk. So there was like three lots of risk there, which again, to my point around a conventional use case, if you're a corporate treasurer and you want to hold and you want to be paid in a stable coin, historically, could you really be sure that was backed by something? Could you even get the accounting treatment that as a cash equivalent? And the answer, was no, you couldn't. Which made it as a means of that institutional level of acceptability. It wasn't really there.
So why are people using this? Because it's almost like there's a scarcity of fiat. Why do we need all this?
No, there's not scarcity of fiat, but I think, it goes to the point you said about the various payment networks. Cross-border payments are slow. So if you've less so in the real-time networks like fast payments and SEPA, but if you want to send dollars through the US to Singapore, Hong Kong, or Australia, in SWIFT is slow. If you're lucky, it's T+1.
So that's the problem that's trying to be overcome.
And it's expensive. So if you're lucky, and if you're doing cross-border remits, if you're somebody out of book in the Emirates and you want to pay your family back in the Philippines, you're going to some money to a money transmitter in Dubai, and you're paying 5, 10, 15, 20% of your hard-earned dirhams or whatever in fees. It's very expensive. So I think the advantage that stablecoins have as a means of buy transfer is they are very fast. So you're not waiting 2 days. It's a blockchain transaction which is visible in minutes, and it's cheap, particularly on some of the networks like whether it's Solana or Tron or some of these other networks, or by Ripple like XRP. It's fast and it's cheap. So something you're not paying 20%, you're paying cents, if that.
So that's the problem that you're trying to overcome. It's the transaction speed and the transaction cost. I guess the regulation is there to ensure that my MAC coin is going to uphold this value. Before I send it to you,
And if you want to hold it, and this is the corporate use case. If you're paying your mum, she'll probably want or fiat at the other side, but she has something to then convert. In the Philippines. But if you're a oil and gas trader, let's say, or you've got a ship full of crude sitting in Victoria Harbour in Hong Kong, and you want to shift it, you don't want to wait 2 days to pay the guy, because every hour of every day that ship spends in the harbour is expensive. So if you can even pay someone $5 million in minutes, and then they got it. Everyone wins.
But I suppose everyone is going to have to learn how to use the tech to be able to make sure that these transactions go through. Which some of those protections aren't there. If you send a certain amount of money via your bank account, obviously it's for personal use, then you can get some of the money back. Protection. So I guess to some extent, if you're a stablecoin issuer, there may be rules around fraud or returning money if it was sent the wrong way, whatever it's.
So companies there. So what is having a reassurance that you've got real money, which is the point of regulation. So if you've got, I don't know, I don't want to name names, but there are some coins where you have full visibility. It's a regulated issuer. Full visibility that every coin you hold is really backed by a dollar or a pound or whatever. Full visibility. It's there, regulated. You can have that comfort, and you have a right to redeem as well. So it's cash equivalent effectively. That's one part of it. Second part of it is that there are now platforms that again are also regulated. That if you transact, you got comfort that you're not going to lose your money, and it just ease of you're not yourself having to put in a blockchain address. You can even do it on a platform. So I mean, there's sufficient comfort now for the non-crypto native to really start embracing this as a technology.
And I suppose so long as the UX allows people to just do this easily without having to understand how to send a transaction via a blockchain, as long as the interface is all right, people are not going to care. Okay. You sort of mentioned these parties before, Ripple and Circle, but recently Ripple tried to buy Circle. I don't know whether
that's the rumor.
Well,
I don't think it's hailed. Well, I don't think it's been officially confirmed.
I was right. So you're saying it might not have even.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's been. I don't think Circle or Ripple have made any public comment on that. Okay. But it's there's been a number of articles and other speculation about it. Very interesting. I mean, Circle is a very successful issuer. They've got not the biggest, but certainly I think regulatory wise, probably the most covered in terms of regulation. They've obviously got their US trust entity in New York, which is again gives you that comfort, and they were the first coin of any note, to really embrace MiCA and in the EU. So
it's Tether who are leaving the EU.
Well, they are supposedly. Well, they're being delisted by exchanges because they.
I thought they were taking themselves an active step to remove themselves from. I thought I saw a notification.
Well, they are. They're not going to apply for a MiCA license, is what they said.
Which has a knock-on effect of the
mandate. And so therefore, I mean, as of end of March, exchanges in the EU are not legally allowed to list. It's this Tether, basically USDT. So I mean, there are reasons for that. I mean, Tether's incredible. If you look at its financials, incredibly successful.
Divided by the number of people who work in a sync, it's the most profitable
in the world. Yeah, in the world.
I know.
So I mean, so they've made that position. I mean, I'm not going to say that's right or wrong. No, at all. I mean, it's people do what they want to do, but I mean, certainly, Circle embracing that, they are definitely regulatory first as a business, and I mean that there are strata and segments of the global market that will really appreciate that.
So you can see why, if it is a true story, why Ripple wanted to buy Circle.
Well, I mean, Ripple themselves, Ripple have for data businesses. I mean, they've recently bought Hidden Road as well. So I mean, they're clearly a massive balance sheet. They're acquisitive, to find the right businesses. I can see why Circle would be an attractive business to buy. I mean, Ripple, as you probably know, Ripple have the rest of their coin, RYUSD. So I mean, that they have a.
It's not so well known though, is it?
It's a later. I mean, it only launched last year. So I mean, they've got traction, but it's clearly a smaller. Circulation wise than even a Circle. So look, I can see why Circle's a attractive business. I mean, it's a successful business, profitable, huge circulation. I think if you're playing in that space, I think more generally, I think you're seeing a lot of M&A now in this space. I mean, your Quebra a small derivate, which is sort of a hugely successful. I think
rumors that the other day, and I just kept seeing it everywhere.
It happens. Yeah, it does. Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely an M&A. As in any kind of market that evolves, whether it was .com 3-5 years ago, there are ways of these things, and I mean, it's inevitable that the consolidation, and the ones with the big balance sheets will be looking to buy other things.
I completely agree. Looking at your website, under crypto accounts, I saw that, to quote, "We operate our crypto accounts to the highest regulatory standards in line with our French digital asset service provider, DASP registration. Your crypto assets are stored in our institutional-grade custody solution, secured with advanced HSM technology," end quote. For the layperson, what does that all mean, and why is that important? And why France?
So I mean, we have a business, so we also do fiat, as I explained, on the payment services side, but we also offer fiat services, of crypto services. Sorry, so you can open, if you wish to, you can open a crypto account with us. So you add your own designated wallet, which can operate on our platform. You can see crypto, you can pay our crypto through our platform, and it's we operate that through a number of entities. The principal one is our French diaspora, or Poussin, as they say in French, which we've had the license now just over a year, and there are obviously rules and regulations. As soon as you become licensed, anyway, that's, I guess, tier one. It's not just AML. There's a wider kind of infosec and security requirements that we abide by, and obviously those are going to become much more formalized in the MiCA process that we're currently undergoing. But we use a number of platforms ourselves, that a number of third-party service providers who are themselves very, very highly scrutinized. So I think our platforms are a very good one. I would commend it to the market. And it's, in terms of why France, that's a great question. I mean, obviously pre-MiCA, we were looking at what the best regime was for our business. I mean, we have French GMI already that we got last year, so it kind of made sense for that reason to kind of mirror a MiCA license in the EU through France rather than everywhere else, just from operational synergy point of view.
You already had a corporate.
Exactly. But I think also I would say that obviously MiCA is a sort of standardized EU it's a regulation. I mean, how different member states incorporate it and interpret it is up to them. But certainly we've made a play, and we'll continue to do this, to only ever get licensed in on, say, the best places.
Sometimes when people say, I was licensed in, and then they name some, you're running, I'm basically interested. So, well, okay, great.
Well, let's say, I mean, this is not about me. I've got no animus against any European member state. Yeah, I love them all equally, obviously. But I think it's certainly with MiCA in mind. I think this is a fair comment. If you look at the DASP regime that was introduced by the MLD5, a directive back in 2019, those rules have definitely been incorporated into different member states law very differently, and with different regulators involved, let's say. And I mean, again, not wishing to sort of be unkind to any different country, but I mean, it was not difficult to go to your Polish town hall and register as a VASP, and then you were a VASP.
Well, that's what I'd heard. That's why I was asking about France. It's interesting.
Whereas the AMF, which is the license regulator in France, is their financial services regulator. So the bar was high to get that license. I mean, it wasn't a case of filling in a form and then you were a VASP. You had to apply if there was scrutinies, and you had to have an ongoing monitoring. So with MiCA in mind, the jump from the AMF VASP regime to MiCA, it's a jump, but it's not a kind of insurmountable jump. The jump from being a registered in a Polish town hall to MiCA,
huge.
It's going to be massive. And I mean, there's going to be some attrition there. So I think we just made that. We wanted to make the upfront investment rather than go and engage in regulatory arbitrage. I don't think in the long term is a great strategy.
You're someone who comes across as knowing their law quite well for not being a lawyer.
I'm a lawyer.
You are.
I'm like that. I'm a lawyer. Yes, I'm an English. Is that a surprise? I don't know who it is, but no, I'm actually. I'm an English qualified lawyer. So I'm an educated.
We'll talk about that afterwards.
Bar and a bar's regulatory service.
That's why you know. So I'm going to ask you these questions. You're going to have even more pressure put on you to get these right. Look, recently the UK Recently, the UK Treasury confirmed draft legislation on the treatment of stable coins under the amendment of FSMA, the Financial Service Markets Act 2000, Regulated Activities and Miscellaneous Provision Crypto Assets Order 2025, which is a catchy name.
They always are.
Yeah, they always are. It defines, to quote, qualifying crypto assets as any crypto assets which are fungible and transferable and not subject to one of the exceptions, end quote. And qualifying stable coins as, quote, is a subset of qualifying crypto assets which are referenced against a fiat currency and purport to maintain a stable value in relation to the fiat currency by holding or arranging for that holding of fiat currency or fiat currencies and other assets. And
I love the cynicism about the port to. I noticed that as well, by the way. Yeah.
The draft also states, amongst many other things, that, and this is, I suppose, the meat on the bone here. 1, issuing a qualifying stablecoin in the United Kingdom is a specified kind of activity, which is the wording used under FSMA. And 2, for the purposes of paragraph 1, issuing means a person, A, established in the UK, carrying any of the following activities. A, offering or arranging, or for another, a qualifying stablecoin created by or on behalf of a for sale or subscription. B, and I won't do all of them, B, undertaking or arranging for another to undertake or redeem a qualifying stablecoin created by or on behalf of A, or C, carrying on or arranging for another to carry on activities designed to maintain the value of the qualifying stablecoin created by or on behalf of A. Do you agree with all of this? Does that sound all about right? And again, more pressure now that I've learned that you're a lawyer.
So I think this is really interesting.
Go on.
I have to say, and there's a long answer to this. So I'll try and keep it brief. I'm a bit conflicted, to be honest, because I think we needed to do something in the UK to bring crypto into the Veruza.
Yep.
We had to do something. We couldn't just do nothing. And we're later to the game than the EU, obviously, post Mika. What I would say is that I agree with bringing crypto. If you ignore stablecoins for a minute, crypto within FSMA is the right thing to do. I think. Now, obviously, bunch of smart tax been around for 25 years. 2000. I've just qualified when it came in, so 2000. And that is very much, it's financial services. It's investment. Right? If you want to be an advisor or a manager or a custodian or whatever, or if a manager, dealing with regulated,
it's all about specifying investment.
Yes, it's bonds, equities, it's derivatives, like stuff, like I make stuff. So so adding one more category, well, I'm sure there'll be a load of source book stuff in the FSMA on Gris, but I'm not against that.
In principle,
not against that.
To me, it sorts in quite easy.
Yeah. I'm not convinced about bringing stablecoins into the FSMA regime.
And you're going to tell me why?
Because they're not really investments, and people aren't using them as investments. I mean, you don't buy a stablecoin and hold it as an investment.
So you're saying it's almost like saying that money, our £5, £10, some then becomes an investment.
Now, again, I would say as a chorus that I'm not convinced that with the EU rate, the approach of having stablecoins as e-money either. Actually, I'm not, because I don't think they necessarily sit that well within well, certainly how the EU done it. I'm not convinced that that's ideal either. But I mean, I think they're a bit too generous, honestly. Is my
generous?
I know
that's what including that's what really beautiful things.
Yeah, because I mean stablecoins. I mean, if you look at how they've evolved. I mean, there are the more akin to IOUs, really, that sort of tradable IOUs. Tickets, as I said, there's a right to redeem.
Yeah,
you're effectively buying and selling the right to redeem. And I know people might say that's kind of like e-money. It kind of is and it isn't. I mean, e-money. Think how e-money's evolved. It was originally designed for things like a prepaid cards and stock cards and that kind of thing, and it's evolved into it's been used as a proxy for kind of banking. I mean,
it's a bit bastardized.
Yeah, if you're an EMI, you can effectively do almost anything except pay interest, right?
I like your point about it being too wide. I wonder whether the word or the phrase qualifying crypto assets may be an overreach, because you say, right, they're not necessarily investments. You may have I suppose anything. Ripple may be something, or an XRP may be just a means to transact. It may not be an asset.
And I mean, if you think Bitcoin, Ethereum, I don't know, Solana, XRP, it's very easy to just bucket them all into one, or put them all in a bucket. But actually, use cases and the features and the And to the extent that people believe us or not, the investment case for a Bitcoin versus an Ethereum versus a Sol versus a Polygon versus a Tron are very different. So I think, like I say, it's a start.
It's a draft. It's a draft statute. Yes, and so we're okay for the moment. I wonder whether we have to get to grips with what qualifying crypto assets are, and then what those exceptions are.
And there will clearly be a massive bunch of guidance on this, because there
has to be. And also, I suppose, if there is a specified investment that is made up of crypto assets, that's very different from just owning a bit of XRP.
Exactly. So
maybe that's what it.
But as regards stable coins, I'm not convinced the breeze that was in FIS was going to do. I'm just not any more than I was convinced that you just create a category of your money on Amica and call it an EMT. That's my personal view. I think they are definitely so generous, and we should regulate them accordingly. Is my view. I do think this wording as it is right now is quite confusing. I mean,
but that's what FSMA is.
It is. I mean, certainly that you wrote about any person.
I could barely read it out.
Offering or arranging or making arrangements. It's all that stuff. It's like, what does that even mean? I mean, you could argue. There was one that I jumped out at me was the arranging for
third party
to maintain the value of. And I mean, what does that mean? That if you're a bank and you're holding reserves, are you in court by this? It's a little bit confusing. And I mean, it doesn't also mention issuance or like minting.
Well, to be fair, we're going to come on to minting, but I only took the following the first one, which was dealing. But there's lots of other provisions.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe that's creating a platform.
Sorry, issuing.
Right, it could be issuing. I mean, but yeah, so issuance, between holding the value, is all fine. I just being realistic. How many issuers are going to be based in the UK?
It's also a good point. But I mean, that's what they want. They don't want necessarily lots of issues to be in the UK.
Well, I mean,
it's a bit of a shape.
But okay. Like, again, I don't want this to be a kind of knocking on regulators here, but because they're trying to act with
these are sure the thing
with best intentions. But I mean, if your objective is to not attract business, I'm not sure that's necessarily within the statutory or
no. But the idea is you want to clear out all the bad actors.
Yes, but there are no actors here doing mixed issues anyway. Right? There are currently none, and I mean, unless you're going to be doing a GBP stablecoin, and there are a couple of projects which are which are on now, one of which is going to be in the UK, one of which is my understanding is not. How extraterritorial is this as well? If you're issuing BVI, let's say, or in Caymans or in Ireland somewhere else, issuing a GBP stablecoin, are you called by this? I mean, if you're offering. I guess what it would mean is if you're, let's say, Kraken, and you want to list one of these coins, you're probably going to be called.
I would think so long as you're interacting with the British public at large.
Yeah, so I mean, it's that extraterritoriality piece is challenging, and I mean we've already seen it with the financial operations regime, with exchanges that are not based here, that effectively affect the view is that you basically can't market here in any way.
It's all basically geo-block. They don't allow people in with
unless you go for the secretary approval. So
I wanted to ask you about one point that you raised before, which was that in that legislation or the draft legislation, both creating a stablecoin, including designing and minting, are general exceptions to the rules. Is that appropriate?
But again, I mean, when is designing and creating not issuing?
Because what you might do is you might create a coin, but then you're not issuing it to certain people or to the public at large. You might just be a coder, or you may be someone who's creating some intellectual property somewhere.
What I mean, you've also got the issue of offering to the public, right? Is the prospectus directive going to apply to this? I don't know.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. But I mean, like I say, it's laudable. My hot take is it's laudable that there is an effort to bring this stuff into the perimeter. I think there's a bit of
what needs to be done.
We should think very carefully about whether stablecoins belong in FSMA. I don't think they do.
There's one other point in this draft legislation. It also defines authorized crypto firm as, to quote, Authorized person that is authorized to carry on a regulated activity specified by Chapter 2B crypto assets of the Regulated Activities Order, etc. End quote. My sense is this will have an impact on your business. Can you describe what that may mean, BCB Group?
Well, I mean, we don't do crypto business in the UK, and we do it elsewhere. We have a Swiss business that does crypto. We have a French business that do. We don't ourselves do crypto-based business in the UK. We have a payment business here that does payments, but we're not a crypto asset firm. It's not our roadmap really either, to be entirely honest with you. I mean, I think in terms of how it affects us, we do have customers that this would affect. So I think from our point of view, in terms of in our compliance team, how they assess customers that are there, that are UK based, where they need to, and it was the same thing as we have. I mean, we've also done a lot of work with our customer base around whether they need to be licensed in the UK, or whether they needed to have their flash perforations approved in the UK.
So, do you not have customers in the UK then that would be caught by?
Yes, I mean, I've never about it. We would, yeah. I mean, I've absolutely 100% said yes, we would. That's what's that.
I'm moving to our last question, which is that I also know a recent collaboration between you guys, BCB Group, and Circle. I understand that Circle launched a global payments network, and you were the design part.
We were a design part.
What does that mean?
So Circle. The people that don't know, but Circle have recently launched their own Circle payment networks, and that is effectively they are inviting select partners to join a kind of umbrella that they're building, which effectively interconnects those partners using as a payment sort of underpinning Circle's stablecoins to affect cross-border transactions. So if you want to on-ramp in the UK, let's say, or in the EU, you might use us, do that, and then we could then route through the CPN an off-ramp in Mexico or in Brazil or in Africa or in Asia. So that it's effectively creating the sort of cross-border use case for stable coins and not under SWIFT or cross-border means of the buy transfer. You can effectively kind of obviate that and have your off-ramp entirely with doing business somewhere else in the network. So yeah, super interesting. We were very very pleased that we polled.
Was one of the chosen?
We are. I'd say we probably are. Yeah, I mean, it's you don't wait. It's a lot of days in terms of rollout, but the fact that we were selected and passed muster, I think is a great validation of BCB as a business.
Yeah, well done you guys. Yeah, thanks very much for joining.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you for having me.